When last we left our heroes, Denir, the Catman Wizard, Nara, the Drow Sorceress, and Wolfgang, the Angelic Warlock, departed from Dragon's Rest on the back of King Bahum, the ancient gold dragon, in search of the great sage who was said to have the information they sought on the location of Taminipombis, who could help them get back to the time they had left behind. In the Highlands, they found the familiar faces of Lush and Pip, who had been guarding the great sage, who turned out to be none other than Alexander Sneed, the old librarian of Amber Glade who had raised Denir. Having taken on the mantle of the Green Seer, old Lex guided everyone to the Wandering Weasel, which had finally opened its doors in the Southern Isles. In the Southern Isles that Denir had known in his childhood. The old god agreed to help them get back to craft a more suitable tale for the world he unknowingly helped create, and showed them the secret he kept locked away in the heart of the Wandering Weasel, a hole in space and time, a root of the Tree of Time, that if navigated properly, could send our heroes back to where they wish to go. But will they be able to find their way through its twisted roots, and where will they take them? So, having been given this information, a conference, a coming together of minds would probably be of best interest. Denir, Wolfgang, you guys still stand at the face of the swirling vortex of temporal nonsense. Tom just kind of leans on the door frame. So, you probably have a lot to discuss in terms of where you'd like to end up. It's be a very dangerous procedure, and if you all don't have a specific spot in mind, it's can be quite tricky to navigate.
So how exactly does this work? Are we going to take over our previous forms, or are we just going to pop out about the same time as our other selves?
It really depends on a lot of things. It's not a very specific science, if you could even call it that. Some have tried, but they went mad trying to explain it.
I get you.
I hope not. There are means by which you could potentially end up inhabiting the body that you previously left behind. There are other means by which you could potentially pop into existence in a space that you hadn't occupied.
Oh.
Nara steps in, soaking wet.
Yeah.
Welcome to the conversation.
Welcome. This is my time hole.
What?
He just kind of like gestures with his hand, open palm, face up, like towards the spinning vortex of chaos.
Double jazz hands.
Has the, like, keg of wine under her arm. So we got a what now?
Got a way back to our original time. It's just a matter of navigating it.
So I just hop in?
No.
Kind of.
Oh, so I could just go.
No.
Oh.
We should think this through first, because there's...
Wolfgang, I hate that part.
I know. I don't like it either. But if we're gonna do this right, we gotta be prepared as much as we can be.
Otherwise, we're going to be scattered across time, and we might have to wait a very long time by ourselves in order to meet up again.
Also, you could end up in completely different timelines entirely.
What?
That too.
If you end up getting separated, I mean, if one of you ends up further back in time and makes any different decision from a decision you had previously made, you're on a different branch.
Uh,
So it's important that we're all together.
oh, no. I feel like this was the hardest part of our whole mission now. So where are we even supposed to come out then?
That's for you to decide. I can't tell you where you'd like to end up. But wherever it is, it has to be something that the three of you can agree on, and that the three of you believe you most desire to end up in. I'll leave you to it. He closes the door.
Oh.
Locks it once. Locks the other lock.
She would.
They told me to create the second lock. Anyway, I haven't said hi to Pip or Lush in a while. I probably should.
Denir snaps his fingers, summons Eska.
Oh, hello. How have you been, little one?
He will pass his companion over to Tom to have a little bit of time with the group as he looks over towards Nara.
So, where have
So
you been? And
apparently
he starts walking down the stairs.
So apparently Pip fell into it.
What?
Yeah. And Arcanos fell into it at one point.
Okay. So...
Explains a lot.
Yeah. So we just have to jump in and decide where we want to come out? Like, when we want to come out?
I'd recommend that we figure that out ahead of time before we jump in.
Right, the thinking part.
Because your branches are probably a lot longer than mine. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on how much time passes in the realm of dreams.
True. Okay, so we need to come back to a time where we'd be useful, but we don't really know much about what happened over the last 30 years. I mean, we kind of know some stuff, but...
Denir holds up the journal.
Right. What do you guys think?
Personally, Wild's Edge or Silver Rock?
Wild's Edge or Silver Rock?
Silver Rock is in right after we did in,
Where you murdered that big muscle man?
right.
And then you got the cool belt.
Also right.
That's a point where after we leave, we can go in, set the explosive, blow up the tower, or somehow find a way to free all those souls, disable the tower so it doesn't blow a hole into the sun again, and potentially, maybe, intercept Vile Blood on our way out. Because she's heading right into demon territory.
So, we'd be trying to get to the time right before we killed Kench, or after Kench, I guess?
Probably after we left the tower. After we killed, what's that little gremlin?
What's his name? Gimp or something?
Grimp?
Yeah, that's the one. The thing that longed for vile blood.
I heard that's called a fetish.
Huh.
So, you think the best time for us to go back is immediately after that point where we decided to pull the plug on Grimp?
That would be a way for us to immediately get the drop on the cannon, be able to destroy it. From there, we can either head north across the maw and get to Iceforge to grab Asmo, or we head south and get to Dragon's Rest to warn the dragons about everything going on.
Oh boy.
Denir, make me a history check with advantage.
Okie doke. 28.
Natural 19.
If you went back to the point in time that you're talking about, the point in time at Silver Rock, you would not have to save Asmo because he'd already be with you.
I was just about to say that, actually.
Okay.
That's why I was curious if we'd pop in or not, because if we went back to Silver Rock, that would basically negate everything that happened in Lona Throne.
As long as the three of you end up there together, and this is something that I'm playing very fast and loose with, you guys can end up anywhere in your timeline so long as you properly navigate your way there.
Whoa.
This can get real fucky, and it will really determine how confused Taka is.
And how much homework you have to do.
Honestly, the amount of homework I have to do will be the same either way. I will have to look up that point in time and figure out what level Taka was and all that other stuff. I understand that this is very dangerous. But like I said, I play by the rule of cool and the rule of fun. I'm not going to fuck with this. I've made my decision. I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
If this happened, honestly, if this was Asmo, Denir, and Wolfgang making this decision, and you guys decided to go back to episode 1 and just go end game mode right there with all of your current abilities,
just
Oh my
save,
God.
save Ramses,
literal new game
kill
plus
Ramses.
Wow.
Hello, I'm Ramses Palto. You've saved me from this
And done.
mode. I know your fucking game.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't
Go to
sure.
jail. No one can explain. I'm like poring over my notes.
I wasn't sure if this worked like a time turner or if we just took over the bodies. But I get you. Well, the thing is,
we wouldn't have met Festus either.
Well,
didn't we?
You have.
We.
Oh yeah.
What was it? No, we went. Didn't we go from Dragon's Rest to the Silver Marsh, and then up to Silver Rock? Then after we left Silver Rock, we went to Wild's Edge, and then went to the Feywild.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have met Festus at that point.
Wait, no, I thought because we did that.
I know, you have to think back over a year's worth of material.
I'm about to start listing dates of sessions. Cause so Gramping.
Speaking of dates, real quick,
Yeah.
would anybody in the party be keeping track of the dates in game or in universe?
Denir would.
Denir
Denir would
had
because
his
he's
journal.
journaling.
So you know the exact date that Ramses intends to invade Lona Throne.
Oh.
You are also familiar with everyone there. All the important movers and shakers, anyway.
So I could say hypothetically
warn them before Ramses comes.
You'd still have to get there.
Oh.
Unless I cast Sending, since Sending does cross the planes unless I roll in that one on the message.
Oh my god.
Hmm?
Why would you say that?
It's part of the rule.
I know.
Yep.
I mean, hell, if we really...
Get massive feedback trying to cast it to Arcanos.
I mean, if we really want to go ham, take it all the way back to right when Nara joined the party and save
I was
Garrick.
just thinking that. And do what?
Save Garrick.
Oh shit.
We could save Garrick,
But that
but
means...
then
that...
Bahum would still be on ice.
Uh-huh.
Also, I'm sorry, there are several dogs outside, and Sherman wants to see them.
They're just wild island dogs. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so I don't even know.
So, for my own curiosity, if we say port back to a certain point, the things that happen beyond that in the timeline, do they still happen or do they get rewritten?
Wherever you end up in the timeline, you are writing a new timeline. At that point, the point that you enter will be a new branch in the timeline, essentially. The point where you had already affected your own timeline would turn into the area that you are now, because you'd never return to change it.
The divergence point.
Mm-hmm.
We could always go back right to the... We could go back to when we entered Lono Throned. That way we're still with Asmo. We have all that knowledge, and we can redo basically the Lono Throned section.
Yeah, but my one worry with going to Lona Throne again is if Project Exodus gets activated again, and if it goes haywire again, we'd be having to do everything else over again, including this section.
Unless we leave. Like, unless we let Ramses escape.
What?
If we let Ramses escape, he never goes into the Infinity. There's a potential he could never become the Bleeding God.
Oh shit. Well-timed thunder.
So my vote is either Silver Rock, Wild's Edge, or Lona Throne. Because think of it like this. We went to Lona Throne because we needed answers from Arcanos. We've already gotten those answers.
Right.
And Project Exodus is what caused the rift. If Project Exodus never goes off, the time mist might never be.
But it's still probably gonna go off because he's still gonna invade Lona Throne. I mean, we can warn them, but how are they gonna stop him if he's still... I don't know. But if he was always that, though, can we stop that? Is that one of those, like, inevitability things?
I think if time were a flat circle, we wouldn't have branching timelines be a possibility.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this timeline that we're currently in, Ramses is the bleeding god because we didn't
Stop
stop
killing
him I think more that we sort of left him in the infinity, and that whole thing just happened, and he like became one with the tree or some shit.
Also, don't forget, he also told Denir after he's seen all of space and time that he would meet him at the end. Whatever that means.
There's a Ramses at the tree, and there's probably nothing you can do to stop that.
Okay. So, oh shit, is this the wrong one?
So, Silver Rock, Wild's Edge, or Lona Throne is probably, unless y'all have a better argument or what have you. Unless we want to go back and stop the desolation of Dragon's Reach.
Dragon's Rest.
Why do I keep on calling it Dragon's Reach?
Because it's another just bullshit
Skyrim.
fantasy world name.
I think it's Skyrim.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't.
I don't know.
Because if we go back that far, we have T-Wig, I think.
Oh yeah.
Dragon. I believe Dragon's Rest is right when T-Wig left.
Was I
Yeah,
even around?
T-Wig left because of the desolation of
No,
Dragon's
because
Rest.
you guys met with because Denir went into Nidhogg into Garrick's dream to try to protect him, and Asmo, Nara, and Wolfgang met with the dark eyes. That's when you met Kage Roshi for the first time. You were chasing after the gems that was stolen during the.
T-Wig had already given up control of the body to Garrick's mom by that point. By the time Garrick was turning into a red dragon, that is.
Is that before or after she assassinated?
Assassinating Xander Crowley was the first act she took.
Yeah. I just sat there and watched it happen.
That was right before Desolation happened.
Right before the desolation happened. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because Denir found T-Wig shortly after the in the remnants of ashes. And that's why T-Wig and Yorick disappeared.
Yeah, they're going off to find Garrick.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they did find him, she was so distraught that she became a tree.
And also, if we step back into our bodies, we're just like the updated versions of ourselves, right?
Yes, you will essentially just take the place of where you were.
Wow. Okay.
What happens to the old us?
It's us already. Don't make it more complicated.
Ceasing to exist is a far better fate than dying.
Who cares about the old me? I'm me now.
So violent.
Assuming direct control.
Oh my god, it's the astronauts. Am I me? Always were.
The only thing we needed in Lona Throned was the Jester, and what else? It feels like it was ages ago.
The
Jester.
the jester was going after Arcanus to try to separate him. Fezzi was trying to separate himself from the jester. We wanted to talk to Arcanos because we needed to learn more about how to separate the souls from the crystal. We also knew that Miguel was hunting down the jester. So if we don't go into the time mist, Miguel might be lost in the time mist.
Does Miguel leave? Miguel is going towards Lona Throned.
He kind of, as you
After-
recall, you kind of find him after he got trapped in the time mist for like 20 or 30 years.
Because we met him.
He stayed in Wild's Edge for a little bit, and that was after we.
After you guys parted in the swamp, I believe.
So that was after Silver Rock. Or did we go immediately there? We didn't come back to Dragon's Rest after Silver Rock, did we?
No.
So we went immediately from Silver Rock to Wild's Edge.
Silver Rock was in.
You went from the swamp to Silver Rock, and then from Silver Rock to Wild's Edge.
Because that's what gave Miguel the heads up on us. Because we had to stop by Silver Rock.
Where in the heck is that? Why am I not finding it?
The Silver Rock episodes, Caitlin?
Yeah, hang on. I know it's here. It's just.
Episode like 80, I believe.
I don't have them labeled like that. Oh, because it was.
So if we go back to the point right after we killed Grimp, we might still have a chance to catch Miguel before he enters the time mist and warn him that it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, Grimp was so long ago.
It was.
That was in 2020.
It was very long ago.
Holy bun balls. Alright. Okay, Grimp. Serpent Bog. Festus.
We take Silver Rock, we're going to get Asmo back. But he's going to be super confused, and he's going to be down a level or two.
Yeah.
This is the episode in the anime where we recap the first couple of seasons.
Yeah, this is a
it
flashback
absolutely is.
Remember that one time when...
Oh my god. Oh, and then we go into the Feywild. I see gets high as fuck in there.
Yeah, that was the Dreamwalker village.
Yes.
Yeah. And now you have to think about all of the things you affected in the timeline beforehand.
No.
Yep.
What about the flap sheets? The
God
Illithids.
damn, you're right. The Illithids.
They're in the Feywilds.
We have to deal with that shit again.
Because they had just started infesting the Feywilds. And if we hadn't already taken that shit out,
we're well equipped to deal with that right now, though. We are shitloads of equipment that helps us prevent with psychic shit right now. I've got the Void Mail that gives me resistance to psychic damage. We've got the halos and the weird things that allow us to communicate telepathically.
I took so many notes. That would have been so bad.
Asmo's not going to leave me in the water to get beaten up by an aboleth again.
Oh, yeah.
Just get there, Asmos confused you, shove him in the water.
Remember...
Save me!
Remember, we only got out of that fight because I had to banish the aboleth, and that was a lucky roll.
Yeah.
So we might need to go to Lona Throned at the very least, and then
because then the aboleths are at least taken care of already.
hmm And if we go back to Lona Throne, we can get the hell out. We can warn Arcanos, get the hell out, and
Are there any teleportation circles in Lona Throne that Denir would have memorized?
Not that you'd be able to access from the
Fruck.
non-Feywild.
that's
I don't believe you can teleport through the planes like that without a specific spell.
You're correct, yeah.
plane shift.
Plane shift,
Wait,
which
so
we don't have access to yet.
What's that one spell you were trying to think of? Like that one that allowed you to travel through dreams, like the reality shifting spell.
Dream of the Blue Veil. It's a
Yeah.
level 7 spell.
Ah, you're a bit away from that, I guess.
Be
So
right back. My
I get-
tummy hurts.
I get
Go,
that next
go.
level.
Ah,
what if we went to the top of that mountain where the giant is? Where the purple giantess is. That
Mhm.
put us up to Lona Throne.
And then we just don't go.
Well, I think. Let's see. How long did we have? Oh my god. I'm still like reeling from the illithid thing.
Because
Um,
what,
I
what
imagine
are you trying to think about in that at that point in time, or what are you trying to narrow down?
Well, I also sent the illithids to Solomon.
Yeah, that would have been done by then.
Yeah.
And they're outside of space and time, so likely no matter what we do, they might already know we're coming if we go back in time.
Right. And have better prepared for us. So I
If any,
think.
I'll also say this: if any of you have any questions about this, you can always go and ask Tom.
Right. We did have a few days in Lona Throne.
Mm-hmm.
So we can either try and head off Ramses and let everyone know what's about to happen.
The thing
he,
is,
like, Wrecks
He-
the school, doesn't he?
it's Project Exodus which triggers it. But here's the thing: Ramses only triggers Denir through jumping into Fezziwig's mind.
Right.
So it could be plausible if Denir just doesn't go into Fezziwig's mind and just gives over all the information to Arcanos as is.
Because you
That
already
might-
know all of it now, right?
Because I already went through that, I got all the information.
I don't like this.
But if Project Exodus doesn't go down, then that means that we might lose Tom.
Right. Which would be not great.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe meeting with the giantess on the top of the mountain, still going to Lona Throne, and then putting up the red flag of what all is about to go down.
Then again,
Oh boy.
Tom has encountered different versions of Denir.
Right.
So he is aware of the multiversal constant.
Right.
So it could quite possibly be that no matter what happens, we still have a Tom.
True. Connor, are you back? No. Okay. Hmm. So, where, what, where, Denir, where?
Denir's going to look at Tom. So,
He's not with you right now. He went downstairs.
He left. He left us
Okay.
to discuss. And
Ah.
actually, I have same tummy problem. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
I'll still hear you. One sec.
well then, since Wolfgang
Denir
and
gets
Nara,
to talk it all out for himself for a second.
All right.
since Wolfgang and Nara are kind of okay,
Yeah, Wolfgang and Nara both like their eyes just go really foggy for a moment, just kind of stare into space blankly.
Denir wanders off to go talk to Tom.
He's downstairs communing with Pip, who's still kind of like wiping off the bar. Really is nice to have you back, old chap. Oh, hello.
Hello, I've got some quandaries that I would very much enjoy your feedback on. Just curiosities and the like.
Go right ahead.
So, you pretty much know the entire timeline that we came from. So,
Probably.
my question is, if we were to, say, go back to Lona Throned, and hypothetically we were to warn Arcanos what was happening. Like, I never went into Fezziwig's dream, since I already have that information. And Ramses, hypothetically, doesn't get that beacon to track me to Fezziwig. That might stop the invasion of Lona Throned, yes?
It might stop Ramses, yes.
But do we know how much time had already passed by the time that months had passed? Months had passed since then. But would that stop the transition that Arcanos went through back then? And Project Exodus?
I've seen many of my lifetimes. And in every single one of them, eventually that city gets ripped away and I get hurtled through time and space. There are certain things that will always come to pass. Whether
So
it's
it's not-
an accidental experiment that goes horribly awry, or whether it's the well-intentioned means by which to guard one's people. Certain things will happen. There are certain points in time that will always come to pass. On the time tree, those branches are the strongest. They then split off into other segments and other branches. It's what you'd call a junction point, I suppose.
Like a multiversal constant.
Yes, I suppose. For example, in your life, you would not be here in any way, shape, or form had you not... What was it you said? Grabbed the crystal when you were younger.
Correct.
For you, that is a point that would always happen, in some way, shape, or form. In order to end up where you are now. You can't change that. Otherwise, you cease to exist.
Because I wouldn't be me, I'd be somebody else.
Exactly.
So we have to find a way to go back as far as we can without removing uh with without removing as little of the good that we've done in the past. Because I would really hate for the mind flayers to get a hold of the Feywild or for the overgrowth.
That could get messy.
But then again, they
Well, of
probably
course, there's
already-
the alternative of finding the branch in time that you think most deemable and just jumping off. And trying to land where you want to land. In a space that you had never occupied to begin with. I've tried that a few times. It's interesting.
Seems like it'd be quite the adventure.
Isn't it all?
Makes looking back at everything. You know, I thought of something, and I don't know if it's going to be a spoiler or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume if it is, you'll tell me. Palto said just before we left that he would, quote, meet me at the end. Do you have any insight on what that might be? The end of the journey, a location, the end of the story?
He actually cracks a bit of a smile. I actually have no idea. Fascinating.
Gives a little bit of a smirk behind the mask. Been a while since I heard you say that. Started to miss it a little bit.
I heard somebody come back in.
Yeah.
It was me.
Ah, welcome back. Wolfgang. After Wolfgang stared into space for a while, you now find yourself standing in a hallway with Nara, who is staring blankly into space.
Oh, what?
Oh, Nara, you snapped out of it. Both of you leave your fugue states. Denir is no longer there. He went downstairs.
Oh.
You're thinking
Sorry,
real hard
that-
there for a second.
Yeah, all that time stuff was a lot. I'll,
Tell
go
me about
find
it.
Denir.
Times like these, it's good to have him around.
Seriously?
You can both hear him communing with Tom downstairs.
Age before beauty.
You're like 100.
That's why I wanted to go first. I'm older and more beautiful.
Flips hair.
Just go.
Ah, there they are. You see Denir talking to Tom at the bar.
Good to see that you two have kind of phased back into reality.
Yeah, we're thinking real hard there.
Too much time stuff.
You know, I thought I was pretty smart, pretty well read. Then I met you.
You know too much.
It's time to die, and I reach for Requiem. No, I don't.
Whoa! Whoa!
New timeline!
Oh my god.
Tom creates popcorn.
Who's the faster draw?
Oh,
Wolfgang with
sorry.
Requiem or Denir with Disintegrate?
Holy shit. I'm back. Everything's fine.
So, I don't think that we're going to have to worry about Project Exodus. Because no matter what, it's going to trigger. It's one of those multiversal constants.
So no matter what, Ramses is going to become the bleeding god.
Aw, it's your fault. Isn't that a nice feeling?
At least this version. There is a version, I believe, that's always going to be there. Because even before he was still there. It does ease the doubt a little bit. Tom suggests that we might also want to take a leap of faith and find ourselves in a place that we've never been before.
You want to
Simply an
trust his
option.
glowing hole?
Simply an option. You find the point in time where you most likely wish to reappear without inhabiting your body, and you jump. Though at that point, you probably would also not want to be around.
Why?
It can get awkward if you interact with your past self. You have to be very careful about what you say, do, and whether or not you exist.
The idea of going up to the mountaintop, or at least going to the base of the mountain, might be the best call. We've done everything that we need to do in the overgrowth.
Why the base of the mountain? We have to climb all the way to the top.
Do we?
Maybe. I don't know. Do we?
I mean, all we'd have to do... True, we would be stuck in the time mist.
Yeah, that part.
So, top of the mountain...
We've already learned how to navigate the time mist, though.
True. We
Do you
do
still
know how
have
to
the
get
thing?
around it.
Do you still have the thing that lets you do it?
Oh, no.
The rod?
I'm
Funny
asking.
little thing?
The thing was taken from us.
Yeah.
Ah.
I
We
thought we
could
gave
do
it
it
to the...
via magic, like following the swirls, but might not be.
That's-
Yeah, that's what I was referring to initially, but yes.
So if we go to the top of the mountain, all the stuff in the Feywild is saved. We've lost a little bit of time, but not as much time as if we go to Lona Throne.
Few months versus 30 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh! Ooh.
Oh.
Here's an idea. If you can send a message to Arcanos and I guess convince him who we are, you could probably have him send people through the mist to us to guide all of us out of the mist. Question mark.
Well, if we've already gotten if we show up on the top of the mountain, I can just teleportation circle us out to Dragon's Rest. We could go back, reverse follow the time mist. Let us get to a certain point where we first make contact with the Archfey of Autumn, so that we can at least begin that. That'll be right before the battle with the Chronosaur. Denir reaches out and he pats little ass on the top of the head.
He's not with you.
What?
He's in a pen in Dragon's Rest.
Oh. I thought I grabbed him.
I will remind from last episode, Bahum did mention that you guys forgot something, and he was going to bring some stuff for you.
Oh,
It will take him a while, but he'll get there.
True.
so we'll have little ass with us before we make the journey. On that note, actually,
Yeah, it's gonna be a little tricky.
What do you mean?
All of you have different consciousnesses in different timelines. And his is very confusing.
Oh my god. I don't know if he's smart enough to make the jump. He's got a peanut brain.
Quick, Denir, you've got to awaken him.
Tom sees you're very concerned about something. What's wrong?
My little ass.
Cocks an eyebrow and tilts his head to look around.
She's got a pet dinosaur.
Oh,
He's a chronosaur, and it was in Dragon's Rest. Everything happened so fast that we just had to leave, and now we're here, and I don't know if he could even make the jump with us anyway.
you wish to bring a
No.
sentient creature with you.
Could we do that?
It does have to seem to have some grasp over time-related shenaniganery, at least in regards to itself.
Wolfgang,
It
you
can-
and I almost had a coma state trying to think about this stuff. I don't know that little ass could grasp the concept.
One moment. Tom wanders away into a back room. You hear him shuffling through some stuff. Continue your conversation.
I mean, I guess we have time for... That's what Bahum was talking about. He meant I left little ass.
We kind of went here in a hurry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
It's
a
a good thing we told him what was going on, and that
I'm a-
Minario knows where we are.
bad parent.
There we are. Tom wanders back around, dusting something off. It looks like a dome on a small, like, silver dollar-sized medallion.
What's
This.
that?
Well, the people that created it called it a parallax.
Uh-huh.
Well, here, look deeply within it.
Oh,
And he kind of holds it out in front of you.
looks deeply.
As you look deeply within it, you can see that the dome on top begins to kind of like magnify everything inside. You start to see what looks to be like a kind of a textured green surface growing more and more. And the rest of you, as Nara is looking into this, as she's watching, her face kind of starts to cone and drip as if she's starting to turn into liquid as she falls inside of the thing in his palm. Nara, you find yourself kind of like staring straight down at green grass.
Wait, what? I'm staring at it?
Yep, you are now standing in a green grassy field.
Hello?
If you look up, you now see two very confused faces looking down at you, and a very large smiling Tom face also staring down at you.
So it's like a bag of holding for people.
You see everything kind of shift. The rest of you, Tom sets this thing down on the counter. He just kind of waves at you as he looks down into it, and you see his face just, and Tom, like liquid pouring from the sky, forms right next to you.
Oh my god, that was amazing. I've seen bodies get liquefied before, but not like that.
It's kind of a pocket dimension, so to speak. The people that created it used them for storage mostly. Also, inadvertently, they used it a lot for hiding. Some people just like to live in these.
Can I have this?
I'm not really using it. It's fairly common where I got it from.
Cool. Wait, how many do you have?
Just this one, but it's not impossible to go get more.
Oh, I will.
Well, first you'll need to learn how to navigate the time tree, and
Right.
then the rest of it.
Well, thanks, Tom.
No problem.
Kanos. Tom.
Alright. Anyway, to get out, all you have to do is will yourself outward, as long as you're the one who's the owner, and if you are the owner, which presently I will give to you, you are now the owner of this parallax.
Cool.
Alright, now you can will yourself out.
And she wills herself out.
When you get out, will me out as well! As you will yourself out, you leave Tom in the geodesic dome.
She holds up the parallax.
Oh, it's very tempting to keep you in here. You're just so handy.
He's just waving.
She turns to Denir Wolfgang.
Can I keep him?
We might need more information from him.
Fine.
She wheels Tom out of the ball. Wait,
Ah,
ball
there we
or
are.
dome? Dome, ball? Sorry.
It's a dome. On the inside, it is a, basically a 100 square meter space, or 200 square meters of like open field. That kind of wraps itself around like a little miniature, like, you know, Mario Galaxy, like one of those
Yeah.
little planets, basically.
Okay. And it looks like a coin with a dome on top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can basically put a willing, like, you can put objects in there. So it's essentially like a massive bag of holding, but it can also hold creatures,
Amazing.
as long as the creature is willing.
That's going in my inventory right now.
Color me curious, Tom. You've been all across the multiverse. You've been to across all these different worlds. Do you happen to have any trinkets from some very interesting worlds that you might be willing to pass on or maybe barter with?
He points at the parallax.
That's mine now.
Where's that one from?
That one, how to explain this? It's from a place where lots of things there are made out of metal, and they aren't necessarily confined to the ground anymore. Nor are they confined to one specific... Do you know what a planet is?
No.
Well, what we're
believe
standing
so.
on right now is a planet,
Cool.
and in this specific place, there are many of them. Lots of them. Many inhabited, some not. And some that were just built by people.
Huh.
Fascinating place, really.
Indeed.
Yeah, they have these, and they're used for storage, and often by the less scrupulous elements to hide from the law.
And Nora had to let you out of that.
You can willingly let, as long as somebody willingly enters, the owner can then will whatever they wish out of it.
Could you have left if you wanted to?
Probably.
There goes that for the idea.
So wait, couldn't we technically just put everybody in this parallax to make sure that we all come out in the same time?
I think might be one of those scenarios where we pop out and see our own selves, except for the one that's carrying everybody.
Right.
That can lead to many different things: spontaneous explosions,
Oh,
bouts of madness.
I feel like I have those.
I have
already.
quite enough of those, thanks.
Yeah.
So, with the time tree, is it possible to say go forward as well as back?
Yes. You would be traveling down particular branches, though. And it gets a little bit more chaotic the further down you go. Poor Pip, he ended up 6 months in his own future at one point. His eye, he just looks at you with like the widest, deadest, fearful looking eyes. Took me a while to figure out exactly where he ended up, but I found him.
So, hypothetically speaking, if we were to say go back in time and we don't like where we showed up, we could show up to the weasel and say, do the
Do it
time warp
again?
again.
Theoretically, so long as I'm amenable to the idea. Whichever me you find.
Yeah, do you have another spare key?
To the weasel?
Yeah.
Not on me.
Oh.
Kind of stopped making them after a while.
Are they hard to make?
It takes a bit of time, yes.
Hmm.
So, has this helped?
Quite a bit.
Good.
Color me curious, Tom. The outside. Is there anybody out there? Or is it just empty buildings?
When the sun started to go dark, things around here started to not go so well for people. The seas began to dry up as the fish tried to find warmer climates. They moved further inward. The larger creatures that were further down felt safer moving in. The plant life started dying. It became quite inhospitable for the people of this town, and of the other islands. It's been lonely here, aside from the few wild creatures that still roam the lands. Beautiful in a tragic sort of way, though.
Yep. Denir just places his hands behind his head and leans back against the bar looking at the ceiling.
Well, by this point, it's well past dusk, and the bar has gotten extremely dark. Pip is actually wandering around trying to light some of the candles.
Hmm.
After a while, Denir just pulls out his pipe and he goes into his own head for a little bit. He's still there. He's still listening, but he's just to himself enjoying his pipe at the moment.
So, have you come to a sort of consensus amongst yourselves?
Were we leaning towards right as we get to the top of the mountain?
That way we could tell the giantess and pass on the information to Lone Throned.
And pick more of those fruits.
Wouldn't be bad.
Well, if that's where you're still at in the morning, then we'll make our go of it.
I just hate the idea of having to... No, that's selfish, I guess.
But
My cousin. I just don't want him to suffer.
At the top of the mountain, you would have already gotten him out.
Yeah, I know, but he would have already gotten in.
Oh.
Yeah, he would be
Already
barely clinging on to his sanity at that point. So the plan is top of the mountain. Tell the giantess everything. We teleport back to Dragon's Rest. And then what?
We prepare for war.
Ominous. The evening creeps on. Each of you still have your own rooms available here.
Should. Bloody well paid for it.
As each of you drifts into your own evening, readying yourself for the venture ahead. Here is where we will take a break. Hey guys, Lani here. I just wanted to thank you for rolling with us. And if you wanted to catch us live, you can do so almost every Monday at 5 o'clock Central Time over on twitch.tv/Lanipator. Now, back to the show. You awaken in the Wandering Weasel. The storm has passed. And now outside, all you hear are the sounds of the ocean from the open door downstairs.
Lani, during the night, could I have done one thing that we can just gloss over?
Sure.
During the night, Denir would have cast a dream. He would have found the shame man. And he would not go into the man's dreams, but he would manipulate it. The man would basically hear at the beginning of his dreams, "I've wronged you, my friend. And so, allow me to make recompense for my crimes against you." And over the course of the entire dream, this man would lack for nothing. He would feast of the finest foods, drink of the finest wine, live in the most extravagant locations that he can. He would not lack for company. Any desire that he possibly needed or desired in his entire life, he would have.
Shadow, I hate to interrupt you.
Uh-huh.
There's a wisdom save to your spell, right?
No.
Oh,
Only a wisdom save if it is a nightmare.
Okay, cool. He did roll a nat 20.
Okay.
For flavor, you are interrupting a wet dream.
Oh my god.
It's like, my friend... Ah! Just your face on the person's body. No!
Oh my god.
You will want for nothing, you hold forth your hands. And now the man is swimming in a sea of his favorite foods.
I can work with this.
Oh my god. Don't. What?
He won't remember when he wakes up, but man, was he freaked out for a moment.
And basically...
He has a very pleasant dream despite that initial... in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And at the very end of that, he gets a message in his mind. I am the Lord of Dreams. If you wish this again, pray hard enough, and I will grant it to you. And then he wakes up.
The exact same dream.
Forever he shall dream. You're actually brought out of your dream state, Denir, by the sound of very loud, flapping giant wings. As each of you hear the approach of King Bahoom.
Yeah, hell, yeah, baby's here.
Who is...
Clutching a terrified little ass.
Yes, a terrified, fully grown little ass who's just trying to bite at his midsection while he's carrying him with his dragon arms.
Nara runs outside, arms up.
Baby, hello!
It looks down. Its tail starts to whoosh, 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 whoosh. As Bahoom sets him down. Little ass, boom, 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 stomps over to you, looks down, and like just continues wagging its giant T-Rex tail.
He's like all nuzzling his nose, like,
Oh, how are you? You have a good time?
As you nuzzle, he begins to shrink down to a more appropriate height.
Oh, little baby. Oh my goodness, look at your face.
And Bahoom begins taking the form of his more humanoid dragon form.
Oh, hey, Boom. Thanks for bringing little ass.
Bringing your ass was incidental. I had something else I wished to bestow. Mr. Connolly.
He's looking around.
Oh, he's inside. Come on.
I'm coming up.
Wolfgang, he walks up to you.
Present this to me in the past.
And he hands you a golden cylinder marked by the three-headed dragon seal of Dragon's Rest.
It'll be very hard for anyone but myself and my family to break this seal, so shouldn't get harmed in transport.
And he hands you this scroll, sealed inside a tube of gold.
Mind if I ask what it is?
It is a message for myself. I'd like to leave the rest a surprise, if that is all right.
Just sort of looks quizzically at him, but then opens his coat and slowly tamps the scroll back into his pocket. Fine then. Keep your secrets.
May they serve you well.
A fucking better. Had enough bad secrets kept from me.
Nara walks up and slaps Wolfgang on the shoulder super hard.
How?
He flew my baby all the way out here, so you be nice.
Little ass wanders over and just kind of like headbutts you in the side, in the other arm, Wolfgang.
Ow.
Oh God, does it knock him over?
Go ahead and make me an athletics check, Wolfgang.
I am very strong.
You are very strong, and little
because
ass
you
is
have a
only at adolescent size at the moment.
cool
So he's
build. Oh,
basically
that's right.
basically the size of a bull.
Oh, okay.
A 15.
Let me roll for little ass. Adolescent. It nudges you back, but it doesn't knock you on your ass.
Okay, he's learning.
Ow.
Gives you just kind of like a sniff and like a snort on the side of your face.
I hope
Little
he gets
ass
snot
sees
on his
a,
face like dogs
I'll
do.
just pat him on the cheek.
Yeah, you get a little smattering of T-Rex spittle and snot.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Little ass then takes note of little critters just kind of crawling on the beach, crabs and stuff. He starts stomping over to hunt and feed.
Well, I guess dinner's worked out.
Suppose it has. Well, that is what I came for.
You don't want to stay and drink? We've
You know,
got
I might.
god wine, I guess.
It has been a while since I've set foot in this place. It was banned from my city for some time after the incident.
The incident.
So how bad did Lush mess up Harish?
Pretty bad. And he wanders into the bar. Tom wanders out, greets him.
Welcome to the Wandering Weasel.
And then he wanders out and to see you guys.
So, you ready to begin your next little adventure?
Don't think there's really anything little about it. Once again, and I'm saying this more often than I'd like, I think we might be the only mortals in existence that have done this.
In this existence, maybe.
Let's stick with time for now.
Yeah,
right.
mortals for now.
Tom just kind of like wiggles his eyebrows a little.
There's one thing I know, I am very fucking mortal. Cracks his back. Ugh. I feel like I'm 50.
Wait, you're
He's
not?
sort of...
What human age is a little weird?
Isn't it, though?
Grouchy.
You live the life I've lived, you have a right to be bloody grouchy. Speaking of mortality, though, and Wolfgang's gonna go behind the bar briefly. Is there just like a bottle of whiskey that is still sealed completely?
Probably not. If I'm gonna be
Fuck.
honest, this place hasn't been stocked for a very long time.
Nara, like, sets down the keg, smiles really big, slides it in front of Wolfgang.
It's not what I'm looking for, even.
Yeah, but I
I'll
want to
just-
see you drink it.
Not right now. Maybe after everything is... Yeah, I don't want to fucking explode when we go traveling through time.
Fine.
And I'll just pick out a mostly full bottle if I can find one.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Okay. 9.
You're able to find like a couple of bottles that look like they have like some sips left in them, and you're assuming that all of them you're able to find whiskey, but they aren't all the same kind of whiskey. But you're able to kind of like make yourself a glass of blended whiskey, basically.
I'm
not
just,
not the breakfast of champions, I'd assume, but you got it.
I'm not gonna mix it together. I'm just gonna take the bottle,
Okay.
the fullest one.
All right, that one has probably like 2 or 3 swigs worth.
Say, I'm keeping this for now. And when my boy is a man, I'll return it to you.
On the house. He just kind of nods to you.
He just grins and looks at the others. Oh, now I can't die.
Wait, no, not house. Tab. On your tab.
Oh,
What?
damn it.
No, come back, please.
Whatever.
Remember, I paid the last one. One of
If
y'all
you're
got to
lucky.
pay
And
the
in your
next one.
pocket.
And if you're lucky, you'll run into one of me that doesn't remember.
I'm just gonna find Loxley.
All right.
So, anything else you do before we toss you in the time portal?
Oh, can you guys help me pick up some crabs and whatever those other little scuttly things are so Lil Ass has some snacks for the road?
Watch out for the
Crabs
crunchy
now.
bits.
Anybody that would
If you
like to
pick-
help with this, go ahead and make survival checks.
If you pick them up from the rear, they can't do anything.
You touch crab butts.
14.
That's how you do it.
Anybody else assisting in the crab hunt?
Sure.
Just
I'll,
Nora.
I'll help. Here I go. It's also a 14.
Nice.
Between the two of you, you're able to wrangle. I mean, are you going to keep these crabs alive?
She's just gonna toss him in the parallax with the baby.
All right, they're very simple creatures. They'll probably fall in and give Lil Ass some time to chase things around.
Yeah,
Look
exactly.
into the necklace. Look into the necklace.
Look deep within look deep within the dome, and you will find your new home. Yeah, you're able to pop like 6, 7, 8 fairly decent sized living crabs in there.
678 crabs. Got
Sure.
it.
Your necklace is infested with crabs.
Awesome.
I've got a necklace full of crabs.
crabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ass gonna
Put
put
them
them
in
in
my
his
mouth.
mouth. Oh, yes.
Oh, sorry, that had to happen. I'm sure you all understand.
Worst case scenario,
and,
once
and seeing all the crabs disappear into the dome, Lil Ass looks deep within it and falls in.
Well, that was easy.
And as you look down, you can see like just this tiny little terrarium of this like small cloud of crabs being chased around by a T-Rex.
Go get him, Sweet Pea.
I'm putting 678.
well, at least we'll have plenty of bodies to send Solomon.
Oh my gosh. Just send him a cloud of crabs. It's like, we're good.
87, 88, 89, 90.
91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99.
We did it!
100.
He is going to build the best undead crab shack.
Oh my god, he'd actually probably be really excited about that.
I don't know how this happened. Is it my birthday? I have 1,000 dead mollusks. We're
Okay.
making crabs.
Oh boy.
Solomon's Crab Shack.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to Sully's Crab Shack.
Wow. Ugh.
Can you imagine what a swarm of undead crabs could do, though?
A lot, and I don't actually want to think about it, so I'm
The
just
intimidation
gonna
factor is already there.
It would
You come in
certainly,
riding on a cloud of crabs.
it would certainly be a crab battle.
It would. All
a
right.
crab shoot, some might say.
Eh? All right.
Okay.
So you've got crabs for your little as.
Yes.
Denir basically took the time to say goodbye to Lex and thank him for everything he's done. And get ready to go.
He'd give you a hug and he'd tell you how, like, boy, I know this isn't the world that you want. But I'm very proud of what you've become.
Couldn't have turned out this way without you, old man. Love the hell out of you.
Good to know I'm partially responsible for the state the world's in.
Yeah. But at the same time, you're going to be partially responsible for when we fix it.
Make sure to tell me all about it. I probably won't remember any of it, but, well, that's part of the fun, really, isn't it? Waking up the next day not knowing what's going on.
You get to hear the story all over again.
Exactly.
Enjoy it.
That's my boy. Now go save the world. Zzz. I don't know.
And Denir pulls away and heads up towards the route.
As you guys like start walking up towards the root of the time tree, you'll be able to hear old Lex like turn to Bahoom, Lush, and like Pip. Does any of you want to give me a ride back to my hole? Anybody else with last business before you head towards the time hole?
Oh boy. Oh, I guess last night Nara would have read a little more of the soul bondy thing.
All right, I'm pretty sure you're getting the full effect
Did
out
I?
of it that you will be.
Oh, I did. You're right. Never mind.
Yeah.
I just thought I had a new book to read. We're.
I mean, you can start reading my Sylvan book if you like.
I don't know if I can. Can I read that?
As long as you have a way to use comprehend languages.
I guess you would have tried burning one and then reading it before bed. So
Go
that
ahead and give
came
me
back in the morning.
a intelligence check.
I hate it when you ask me for that. It always feels like an insult. I know it's not, but my intelligence is low. 13!
This language is close enough to Elven that you're able to kind of like slowly, like you're able to, at the very least, pick up the alphabet fairly easily. But
Okay.
the way they, the syntax of their sentences and things like that, it'll like particular grammar and stuff will take a while for you to get used to.
Okay. Starts learning Sylvan. Got it.
I retrieve Eska as well, so we don't leave him behind in case it's the same spirit. And poof away.
Off we go.
All right.
As he opens the door,
Now, in order to get to the Tree of Time itself, we're going to have to enter through a root memory. So we'll use one of mine, something that set everything on the path that led everything to where you all ended up. Luckily, most of my past affected most of yours. So, shall we?
After you.
Doors open, let's go.
Alrighty then.
Tom begins to like reach his hand towards the hole in like the chaotic hole of space and time, and he holds his hand out to you, the three of you.
Take my hand.
Alright, we'll grab hold.
Denir grabs hold.
Yep. Grab hold as well.
I was like, Wolfgang?
Wolfgang
No.
refuses.
Oh my god.
No, I'm not gay.
Oh my god.
Holding hands, that's lewd.
Uh,
All right. And as he begins to reach his hand into the hole of space and time, you can feel as this energy begins to like course around you, and the hole starts to get bigger and bigger from your point of view as you all sink into it. And then darkness. There's a faint smell in the air. Kind of a... It's almost like a fresh sort of smell, like running water. But there's this mustiness as well. Nara, your eyes adjust the quickest as you've spent basically your entire youth in the Underdark.
oh.
You are on a small boat in the middle of a vast, vast, sunless ocean.
What?
As the world begins to take shape around you, the single source of light begins to emanate. It's a very familiar form, but nowhere near as big as you remember. A young Solomon stands at the bow of the ship. Wolfgang, Denir, you guys' eyes begin to adjust to that too, as you can see the skeletal frame of Solomon's bones eking out of this child, like this kind of like somewhere between teenager and child-sized body, kind of like a tween. He turns and looks back towards the rear of the small boat that you're on, and you can see standing at the helm is the Tom that you entered with. What are we looking for out here, Archie?
I told you.
And Tom actually looked towards all of you and just kind of gives a wink.
I sense something very powerful down here. Could be the key to making our city.
In the middle of all this water? God, where is this? We must be miles beneath the surface. How would it even have gotten down here? This have to have been before everything.
Not before everything. The rock was here first, after all. Yeah. Besides, you said you wanted to get away from the dragons.
They're all assholes. Duh. All of them? Shut up. Tom cracks a smile. As you begin, as the ship continues to sail, you notice a glow emanating from further ahead. Is that it?
I believe so.
And as Tom begins to walk forward, you can see his form, like almost kind of like the ghost of a little Arcanos walking towards the front, towards his brother. Kind of in pace where with Tom is. Should we anchor down? Yeah. And as the anchor gets weighed, the two boys stand at the front of the ship and look down into the water. Glowing faintly, deep beneath the surface of this water, looks to be a very large skeleton made of crystal. Denir, go ahead and make me a I guess everybody can make me a history check, but Denir with advantage.
28.
5? Nara's real pissed that Solomon is here. Like, furious.
3.
Denir, as you're glancing down, you can barely... Like, you're the only one that's really gotten a look at this skull before. This is the skull of... this is the skull of Osmodius, essentially, but it's not pink. This is an ancient body. But it's not corrupted. I'll be damned. Fascinating. The young Solomon, or the young Tom says as he looks over, or the young Arcano says as he looks over the edge.
Are they aware of us?
Tom seems to be. Solomon does not.
So he's, like, looked at us but not seen us.
He's looked through you, basically.
Right. That's what I mean. Okay.
And all around the skeleton, you can see kind of growing around it are these small, familiar crystals. Well, guess we gotta go down and get some of those, huh? I guess. Unless I can make that thing bring it to us. And Solomon starts to gesture towards it. You can see him trying to will energy into it.
Nara tries to get up and stop him.
Denir puts a hand on her shoulder.
And as you see Solomon just kind of like reel a little bit, this energy that he's trying to pump towards this skeleton gets shot back at him. Yo, what the... What's that thing made out of? Arcanos just looks down. Fascinating. Stop saying that! That hurts! That must be something that was created by your dad or something. Or maybe this material existed before him and he... Either way, your shit doesn't work on it. Yeah, I noticed. Well, guess I'll dive down and see. Wait, what? Splash! And Arcanos jumps into the water. He goes down and you can see him as he swims further and further down. Now being able to see the scale of this. The skeleton is at least twice the size of the boy. Which isn't too surprising to you, Denir, having seen the full-size skull very close at least twice.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets down to the bottom. He starts chipping away at some of the crystals. And he brings one of the crystals back up. And so what are you planning? Like, what exactly do you want to do with that? Well, I'm going to replicate it and study it and figure out what else we can do with it. With this, we can do all sorts of things. And the visions of everything starts to blur as the glint of the crystal flashes in your eyes, to the point that it starts to overtake everything around you. And you find yourself in a field of white. It's a familiar sensation. Almost exactly of what you felt just after Project Exodus happened. You feel everything kind of stretch into this glint of light. And as you start feeling yourself getting pulled further and further, you can feel yourself getting pulled by Tom's hand out and up and onto the surface. You're basically being pulled out of a crystal and onto the what basically feels like a very strong crystalline surface beneath your feet. As you glance around, you see yourselves on a vast, winding stretch of crystal, fluctuating and shimmering in various shades of blue, pink, red, white. All around you, these branches stretch and twist. And Tom, who pulled the three of you forth onto this branch, tells you, "Welcome to the Time Tree."
Huh. Interesting.
Now, this is where the point in time that, my past will have affected all of yours, so we'll have to travel a bit to get to where you exist.
Oh.
Right.
Don't worry, it's just up that way.
And you can see, like, as Tom mentions, that this is basically a branch of his timeline that you are now standing on. It is a massive branch. It looks like a very old, kind of like rounded, like, you know that like type of willow tree that like where all of its roots kind of like swirl around itself to make it look like it has larger branches than it does.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like that, where you're standing on the surface of something that is just massive. And as you look further inward, you realize you're only on a portion. Like you can see a portion of this tree that you are on. And this particular branch stretches off in so many different paths.
So, if I know my own timeline, we should move this way.
And he starts gesturing in the direction he's facing, I guess.
Come along. Try not to wander down any of the other branches. I've come into contact with many things.
Oh? Like what?
Various beings of various levels of power.
What?
Like an entity of madness.
This can't possibly shock any of you.
As I've stated previously, nothing shocks me anymore.
Wolfgang, give me a perception check.
I'm going to be shocked, aren't I?
Oh.
Oh my god.
19.
As you say that, you do see a kind of a wispy, crystalline, squirrel-like creature start to like wander around. It's the size of a small dog. It kind of like skitters around the branch. It's holding what appears to be a swirling vortex of chaos in its mouth, and it looks over at you, pops the vortex in its cheek. And starts skittering down, like climbing under the branch and skittering away.
Goodbye, little one.
Tom yells.
I'm going to write so many papers about this place.
Essentially, this tree is known by a number of deities. And it goes by many names to many of them. Though the ones that patrol it the most gave it the name Yggdrasil. It's a pathway to many places and many things.
It is a little bit crazy, We're standing on the first thing.
Technically, the only thing. Depending on how you look at it, of course.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Reality just being part of the tree and all that.
For the best. If you see any large-looking gentlemen, try not to draw attention. They can get quite testy.
Large-looking gentleman?
Yes, one with a hammer is particularly violent.
He sounds cool.
Depends on how much he's had to drink.
We'll
Now.
be sure to.
Now, shall we? And he continues leading the way through the twisting and turning branches of his life.
Yep. I'm gonna follow along.
Denir follows, but he is absorbing everything he possibly can.
All right.
Same with Nara.
Curiosity and cats very commonly go well together.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever find yourself looking down at the tree, you will see glimpses of Tom's life kind of flashing around at various stages. For example, Denir, who's probably most fascinated by this, you would look down at a point and you would see like him at the point where he is trying to create essentially Mitternacht by trying to replicate this crystal that he found. And the moment he found his breakthrough and how explosively quickly they tended to grow, he destroyed essentially the side of a mountain with his first successful experiment.
Oh.
So this white crystal from Mitternacht, how fast did it grow exactly? Like, would it take over everything if you didn't stop it?
Well, it's more about controlling the energies that you put into it.
That right there, he points to the exact point that you're referencing.
I was experimenting with enlargement, and it tended to amplify the power that you put into it, so it got a little messy.
I confess my own curiosities. I was tempted to construct a tower out of the material at one point, but I thought better against it.
Well, eventually I found a way to make it a bit more malleable. You're familiar with the materials you found in Lona Throne?
That white stone
Yes.
material?
It's a more synthetic material, synthesized of the crystal and various ores found in the area.
Can we, take some?
If
We'd
you
have to
wish
go
to
back
visit
to that
Lona
place
Throne.
first.
I mean, we are gonna go back there.
All your call. Now, further down this way, and it does take you quite some time to travel down his timeline like this. As wrapped and massive as it is, he's doing his best to keep track of the proper timeline. It feels like hours to you that you are walking. And this tree, the branches that shoot off of it, it's almost absurdly labyrinthian in how massive in scale this is. But eventually, you hear Tom say, "Aha!" And he points down to a point in time.
And as you look in, Wolfgang and Denir, you almost feel yourself getting pulled in as for just a flash, you see yourself inside of the Wandering Weasel the first time you ever stepped in. Welcome to the Wandering Weasel! And you feel a pull on the back of your neck. Whoa! Try not to fall in.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
From this point on, it could be a little dangerous for you to try to invest yourself in this. But,
And he notes that the twisting path moving forward, from this point, there is a junction point.
from here, this is where you come in. Now we'll have to follow your journeys. And unfortunately, at a point, our paths will no longer diverge here. But, at the very least, we've come into contact enough times that we don't have to split off.
And it's at this point that he will kind of look at each of you.
You see, each of you will be able to see your own timelines. You will know where you branch off and where you reconnect. But since we've reconnected enough times, we can try to get as close to the point that you wish to return as possible before we truly have to split.
Okay.
So we'll continue on until we meet... Well, until I meet you for the first time.
You guys continue traveling down the tree, this time for significantly less time. I mean, you like those over those couple of hours that you were walking, those were centuries and centuries of Tom's life that you were walking past. But now you're only walking past months and months. And it doesn't take long for you to come across, like, maybe a half hour of time passes before the junction point where Nara first entered the Wandering Weasel and met Tom. But through that, you guys wandered past the war games and any other time you guys had met with Tom. And at various moments, you even saw alternate realities where some of you just didn't happen to be there at certain times. Like, things that felt very alien and strange. Small differences, but differences nonetheless in some of these, like, twisting routes that you would sometimes look down into. And one, Wolfgang's hat had a much larger feather.
Asmo's got both eyes in that one.
What point in time are we at?
At this point, you have... this would be the first time that you have wandered into the Wandering Weasel with everybody. The first time where you found the hot tub with Asmo and you...
Oh, and I figured out what liquor was.
Mhm.
Was that the first time?
I mean, maybe not the first time in your life that you knew what liquor was, but the first time you were freely able to drink it of your own accord, probably.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
Good times.
This is the swamp, yes?
I think. Because it was when you also all met up with Miguel.
Yeah,
When
this
he was
the
on his
swamp.
hunt.
And this...
Was this the last time you were all together at the Weasel?
We met in the overgrowth. That's when the Archfey of Winter came in and...
That's
Base.
right.
Yeah. That's the last time that we met him. we also told him about the Pixie Village, and he was on his way to fix the stone, which we couldn't fix.
That's right, that's right. So you travel a few weeks / a month further into the future, and you find yourself at that point, looking down into the very cold bar.
And this, I believe, is the last time that we were together, at least in my timeline. And chronologically speaking, yours.
And he reaches down and he kind of like touches that point. And as he does, you see the branch that you see like his branch continue to glow blue. And then he points off in a branch that is not glowing.
And that, I believe, is your path. Now, should you fall in and...
Why is yours blue?
I'm simply showing you where I go.
Oh.
And he kind of like takes his hand off and the tree stops glowing.
Okay.
Now, I can wander down that branch with you, but if you fall in, I won't so easily be able to rip you out. Not without affecting everything.
Let's try to not do that then.
For the best, yes. From here, though, you will have to lead the way. As I don't know what point in time you're looking for.
You guys want me to lead?
You have the best eyes out of any of us.
Oh my god, I was joking. But if you're serious, I will.
Whichever of you wishes to lead should be the one with the most willpower. To look into the timeline is to try to hold yourself back from falling in.
You broke up for a second. You said the most willpower? Lani?
Yes, as in the most... the highest wisdom save in meta terms.
Probably me, then.
I'm not gonna say that I might get distracted if Asmo is everywhere in this timeline.
You're gonna get distracted.
I'm gonna get distracted since Asmo's in this timeline.
I will say I'm pretty good. I've got a pretty strong willpower as well.
Mm.
When it comes to Asmo, I don't have a lot of willpower.
You're quite imaginative. Very curious being as well. Puts a hand on both of your shoulders and steps in front of you.
All right, Showy McGee.
Denir starts following Wolfgang.
And Tom continues following the lot of you.
Yep.
Denir, I want you to make me a very special wisdom save as you begin walking this line.
Oh boy.
God.
Special.
Oh God.
Okie doke. I got a net one.
Amazing!
Denir, how could you not one right out the gate? How could you do it?
Amazing!
You just get sucked in.
Denir,
I love that this guy. I love that this came right off the back of. I don't know. Mine's pretty good too.
Yours is actually better than mine.
Wait, what are you
He has a +8 to wisdom saves. He's
you-
trained very hard for it.
guys? Oh.
Denir, as you begin walking, you feel like a shudder run through your entire body, and in your eyes, you see a streak in this branch as it turns deep red to your vision that fires into the distance and hooks off to the side. And in your brain, you hear the voice of Ramses Palto. Find me.
No. No.
Denir stops and he grabs his head, trying to shake it out. Do you guys see that?
None of you see it.
No.
Don't see anything. Are you okay?
I see a red branch.
And as
Ramses
you look at the
is-
red branch,
Hmm?
you feel yourself getting pulled into it. And like that, Denir's gone.
No!
I don't suppose my Ring of Arcanos' stillness of mind would save me.
It's not the kind of effect this has.
Okie doke. Oh, I'm gone, baby.
Turns back, grabs Tom by the collar.
Tom's eyes just went wide.
Where the fuck did he just go?
Fascinating.
Don't you dare say that!
It is.
Shut the
I've
fuck
never-
up! Tell me where
I
he
have-
went!
I have never seen that before. Not in that manner.
We gotta get him!
Hold on. How?
What do you mean, hold on?
I'm open to suggestions.
I'm ready to murder you right now. Wolfgang, what are we gonna do? It just... He poofed! He poofed like Asmo poofed!
Probably got sucked into one of these time streams then.
He
Sucked
usually
into
only
his own
grabs
little
his-
timeline.
But he did the thing with his head, where he grabs it when he's thinking about something he doesn't want to think about.
He got pulled somewhere.
Didn't he say, what did he say? He said that the red branch.
Red branch.
You don't think that's...
Tom crouches down and starts looking at the timeline. He starts looking off. You can see his eyes starting to trace something.
What?
I think he's on a very particular path right now.
Why? How do we get him back?
I think he has to find his own way back. You can see a small smile kind of trickle across his face.
She slaps him.
He no-sells it.
I was afraid you'd say that. We gotta keep going, Nara.
Go without Denir.
Denir will be fine. We'll meet up with him when we come back.
We don't even know what back is. We don't know where he's gone. We don't know where he is.
You can still see Tom's eyes just kind of like tracing a particular series of branches. If that's...
We don't know where he is. He like slowly turns to look over his shoulder. But he can find us.
Through dreams?
He's a smart kitty. We gotta trust him, Nara.
We trusted him to lead us. And he's gone.
I'm in front.
So this is your fault. What did you do?
Is there any path that we can follow, Tom?
If you begin
Or
to
should
walk,
we just-
if you begin to walk someone else's timeline, they aren't all as supportive and.
He kind of points back to the very large, bulky branch that you just stepped off of. You'll notice that when you stepped onto your own intersecting timeline, viney branch, it is much narrower. Like, where on Tom's you had, like, you know, probably 20 feet to a side, you now have maybe 5 feet of wiggle room, or else you'll fall into the infinity. And his particular branch, and he points, and the one that he's kind of like tracing with his eyes and hand, at points it looks like it is merely centimeters across. Simply 2 timelines twisted together, forming a very small branch.
Will be very difficult for you to navigate.
He splintered off on his own. That doesn't mean our branches can't intersect again.
For now, you should probably continue with where you believe you need to go. Have faith that he'll find you, and if he doesn't find you, well, another him will be waiting for you there, won't he?
Just sort of looks off to where Denir was, and then turns back forward. Let's go.
And as you begin wandering down the timeline to the point which you wish to exit, Denir, you shoot through the timeline. Through your head, you see every moment that you and Ramses have met and intersected. The very twists of your timelines. And the very last time you saw him in the infinity. And as you flash out, once again standing on a twisting, turning, crystalline surface, you find yourself face to face with Ramses Palto. He's sitting on a loose branch of the timeline, and this area has so many vines twisting and turning, almost like a lattice that you're standing on, a crystalline lattice. Almost as if it has been cultivated and morphed over a very long period of time. He goes from looking down to looking up into your eyes. So you're finally here, Denir.
How could I resist such an invitation?
I thought you might not be able to. This has been a very long time coming, I suppose. You and I here at the...
And he gestures around.
the end of it all.
I was wondering what you meant by meet me at the end.
I was very much hoping that you'd take up my invitation. It's been very lonely here. It's hard to say how much time has really passed for me. I haven't aged, but it feels like I've been here for countless lifetimes.
Do you like my garden? And he gestures all around him.
I've stared at your garden for many nights, nights that I would greatly like to forget. But my question to you is, was it all worth it? The pain, the suffering, the people that died that didn't need to?
I only ever wanted peace for my people. In my lifetime. A place for them. Power for them to take.
And yet you damned them. Every single one.
I gave them power, Denir. I gave them the strength to take control of everything that they had no control over. These people who were subjected to the horrors that you couldn't possibly imagine. Horrors that I could never show you.
And yet I've seen what your grand scheme comes to fruition.
Which one? And he glances at you with this very distant look in his eyes.
The one with the hole in the sky. The one where one of your pets unleashes disease upon the land.
He begins tracing some of the lattice and looking around, and he finds himself over in a corner. Ah, yes. He points at a very particular point in time. One of these. There are other outcomes, you know. Various victories. Some for me, some for you. There are many timelines here, Denir. And I've been able to affect them all in some way, shape, or form, but at the end of all of it, I've come away with wondering, did any of it matter? My people survive, yes. In some situations they thrive, and he kind of gestures to his left. And if you glance at those timelines that he's gesturing to, there are various cases. To you, it kind of looks like, you know, a situation of almost like a hell on earth, where the devils have their own society. They're in control. They run everything. Some they struggle but still survive. But in all of them, they have the power to take it for themselves. But then at the end of it all, there's us. And I'm tired, Denir.
Tired of playing God?
Tired of being God.
So why am I here? To help end your suffering? To end your plight? To end the path that you walked down that I know that I could not? Or do you have something else in mind?
Because you're the only one, and he kind of gestures behind him, that can help me move forward.
In what regards?
And he kind of smirks. It's rather amusing, because all of that is determined by you in how we should proceed here. Everything here, everything I could affect, I have already affected. I have done all that I can. I have affected many timelines, many different streams of time, but only one existed that could lead you here, that could lead to anything further. And for that I do deeply apologize, Denir. You see, ever since we met, I have seen you as a friend. And everything I did beyond that, since I've gotten here, every nudge, every bad dream, every provocation, was to get you to this point. And now it's out of my hands and it's for you to decide. I have suggestions, of course, but yours is the only hand that can move beyond this.
I'm always willing to hear you out, old friend. What is your suggestions? Denir's hand is gripping the staff of Arcanos more.
There is one time, one path that I'm unable to create from here. I want to give my people a world of their own. I don't seek the destruction or the supplicants of the world that wronged them. I seek a paradise for them to call home. Arcanos was able to tear a hole open and create a path into the Feywilds. Perhaps he'd be able to tear a hole open and create a home for my people. A dimension only for them to run rampant and rule. A fresh slate. But doing so requires immense power. And he taps the skull at the end of his staff. Power that lies within these bones. If all of them could be gathered into one place, perhaps this world could be created, separating my children from the world you wish to save from my children.
Interesting. A place that you and all your children would go and leave this place never to return?
Well, you know as well as I do, once the hole is made, you can't truly seal it for good, but would you not agree that such a separation would be preferable than trying to battle over one rock? You can see how all of that goes, and judging by where you came from, you have seen where some of that goes.
I've also seen that you've got your own war to deal with in a number of those timelines.
Yes. Which I suppose that would be another benefit. The enemy of my enemy and all that. It would cast him out as well, wouldn't it? These being his bones and all.
Denir gives a nod. And I take it that no matter what, I walk out of this place and the indecision is mine, yes?
I don't know what happens from here, Denir. The decision is yours. But if you choose to leave me here, I won't stand for that. I would rather die. But I can't kill myself. And if you kill me, well... He looks at the skull. That just leaves one less enemy for our enemy, doesn't it?
And now, if I were to say, make a decision and wish to return, I take it that all I'd have to do is come back to the time tree, follow the path, and then I'd be led right here?
I don't think it'll be as simple as that, Denir. I think we are at an impasse now. And I can't risk that. It took me a very, very long time to get you here. I will not wait that time again. No matter how deep our friendship is.
You can see that his hand is likewise kind of gripping tighter around his staff.
The Connollys wanted a world where everybody could be safe.
Tell me, Denir, do you believe such a world could even exist? You've seen the horrors that man has inflicted on each other. You can't weed evil from everyone's heart. Security and safety can be given, certainly. It can be provided. But there are gaps in all armors. No plan is forever foolproof.
A wise man once said, "Never hold a tyrant." I raise my staff and I cast Disintegrate.
Alrighty. Go ahead and cast Disintegrate. He has to make a save?
It is a save, and I am using my heightened spell to make him roll this with disadvantage.
Alrighty.
It is a DC 17 dexterity save or take 69 force damage.
The first one was a 23. Second one was a 15, so he does not make that. As you bring your staff forward, you blast him with a ray of disintegration, and you can see his arm and face and side begin to sizzle. Ah! He kind of clatters down to the ground, kind of going down to one knee. And as he
You
looks
are
up at
more
you,
to me than just a friend, Ramses Palto. I loved you, and you turned your back on me. I cast animate objects. If I'm allowed to, I'm going for the kill.
he looks back at you as his face begins to kind of like peel and crack. I never turned my back on you, Denir. And his body turns to dust, and his staff clatters to the ground. The skull pulses red, its eyes staring at you.
I walk over towards the staff, and I pick it up slowly, looking at the head. And you're next.
And here's where we'll end today's episode.